Hey everyone, excited to be back for this week's edition of Frequently Asked Questions for Commercial Real Estate. In today's video, what I want to do is talk about a concept that is really something that we do on a day-to-day basis as agents, and that is showing etiquette. So how do you handle a showing, and what are some of the things you need to look out for as you're walking through a space with your client? And this is just to make sure that the space is in fact appropriate for their particular use, and that you're able to clearly understand what the responsibilities are for your client so that you can best advocate for them with the landlord. So before we dive into this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you can like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and ensures more and more people can hear this message and learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. So now you've done that, go ahead and like and subscribe below. Let's go ahead and dive into this episode. All right, so in today's video, what I'm gonna do is talk a little bit about showing best practices. And the reason why I think it's important to do this is because as you're walking through a variety of different spaces for your tenant clients, you want to be able to showcase that you have expertise in what you're talking about. And part of being able to do this is to follow a process to help narrow down the list of potential spaces and ultimately advise your client on the best one to fit their needs. And so in today's video, I'm going to share 4 key things that you should be looking out for as you're walking through these spaces to ensure that your client makes the best decision possible for their business. So to start off, what I typically like to do is, obviously, depending on what area they want to be in, we kind of narrow our search down to that particular area. And then as we start looking at sites, what I want to see is, the accessibility of the site, the visibility of the site, in particular, if you're talking about a retail tenant, and then also, what's around it. If it's an office tenant, if there's other office users in that area, and there's plenty of parking for clients to be able to come in the office, obviously that's very beneficial. If you're an industrial tenant, you want to make sure that the area supports industrial uses, so it's easy access for semi-trucks to be able to pull in and pull out of. Maybe it's closer to major suppliers. So all the characteristics of the location have to support the particular use. And so, as an example, if I'm going to advise a retail client, I want to make sure that if we're looking at a retail center, is it easy to get into? Are the demographics supportive of whatever the use is particular for that center? And then also, visibility from the roadway, because, as we know, foot traffic and traffic counts can be very beneficial for retail tenants. So that's number one, is to get a feel for the area and understand the characteristics of the building such that it supports that particular use. So that's number one. Number two is, as we're approaching the site, I like to look around to get a feel for, what the building looks like. Is there a lot of deferred maintenance? Is the landlord taking care of the landscaping? As we get the financials, especially if it's like in a condo association or, some sort of, association that pools money together to get the deferred maintenance taken care of. Are they well capitalized? Are they spending money appropriately on the things that they need to spend money on? These are all things that go into making your decision for your client. So making sure that deferred maintenance is not present, or if it is present, it's very minimal and it's going to be addressed when you have a discussion with the listing agent. You also want to make sure that you clearly understand what the tenant responsibilities are going to be. In a multi-tenant center, for example, there's usually CAM charges, meaning common area maintenance. So you're responsible for paying a pro rata share of all the taxes, insurance, and general maintenance for the center as well. And so you want to make sure that those funds are being utilized appropriately to help make sure that the center looks great and is beautified and everything and the like. So that's number 2, is deferred maintenance. And then number 3 is to get a clear understanding of what your tenant obligations are going to be. And then finally, number 4, as you're walking through the space, you want to make sure that you check the major mechanicals of the space. I can't tell you how many times I walked through a space and we were able to isolate the furnace or other components of the property, and we realized that there's a lot of issues. Either A, it's very old, and maybe it may be working great right now, but if the landlord's expectation is that you end up covering the cost of a replacement, if for some reason that thing goes down, that could be a sticking point when it comes to negotiation. And so you need to get an understanding of the major mechanicals. So I would include furnaces, I would include elevators, I would include any type of cranes or whatever comes with the building that would be ultimately your responsibility to modify or replace. That is something you need to get very clear on and make sure that it is hashed out before you actually go and sign the lease with the landlord. And then along with that is the orientation of the space. Depending on what your use is, you may require a certain orientation. Now, if the space isn't oriented the way you want it to be oriented, it's not the end all be all. There's ways for you to be able to hire a contractor to make sure that the walls are moved or whatever needs to be done to make the orientation of the space work for you. However, that needs to be factored into the offer that you ultimately make, because that is going to be an out-of-pocket cost for you. And so getting an understanding of what the optimal orientation of the space is on the front end will help you best advise your client and say, okay, well, let's get a quote for whatever it's going to cost for you to get to where you want to be. And then let's try to see if the landlord is willing to offer you some form of either free rent or maybe some tenant improvement allowance or any other combination of incentives to help you move into the space. And so hopefully you gain some value from this video. Those are just some of the things to look out for as you're looking to tour spaces with your clients. You just want to be very, very consistent in how you look at different spaces to make sure that you're best advising them. And then definitely take notes every single time that you go to showings, because you want to make sure that you're able to compare and contrast different properties when you ultimately get back to the table and determine which one's the best one to move forward with. Along with that, if you're looking to lease or buy commercial property here in the Louisville metro area or surrounding areas, I'd be honored to help you do so. I'm a commercial real estate agent in town. I'd be happy to do so. So feel free to reach out to me. My number is 502-536-7315, or you can reach me via email at raphael@grisantigroup.com. Thanks again so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.